In 1979, a psychologist interviewed 500 people and found a state of mind so different from ordinary love that she had to invent a new word for it. Her name was Dorothy Tennov, and what she described will probably sound uncomfortably familiar. You check your phone, nothing. You check it again 3 minutes later. You replay a conversation from 4 days ago, analyzing a single sentence for hidden meaning. You feel euphoric over a 2-word text and devastated by silence. Tennov called this limerence, and her research showed something important. It isn't love. It's a distinct psychological state with its own specific pattern. The core symptom she identified was intrusive thinking, involuntary, repetitive thoughts about one specific person that occupied, in some of her subjects, more than 85% of their waking hours. Not because they chose to think about that person constantly, because they couldn't stop. This wasn't romance in the way we usually describe it.
It was closer to something you'd read about in a clinical case study. So what's actually happening inside your brain when this occurs? In the early 2000s, anthropologist Helen Fisher scanned the brains of people who described themselves as intensely, obsessively in love. She showed them a photo of the person they were fixated on while monitoring their neural activity. One region lit up more than any other: the ventral tegmental area, a small structure deep in the brain responsible for producing dopamine, the chemical tied to motivation and reward. Here's the detail that should unsettle you. That exact same region activates in almost identical patterns during cocaine addiction. Not a similar region, the same one. And there's a specific reason it gets so intense. Dopamine doesn't spike the most when you get a reward. It spikes the most when the reward is unpredictable. A text that might come, or might not. Attention that's warm one day and distant the next. Your brain isn't responding to consistency. It's responding to uncertainty, the exact same mechanism that makes slot machines addictive. Consistent affection is calming. Inconsistent affection is what your dopamine system was built to chase. But there's a second chemical shift, and this one is even stranger. In 1999, psychiatrist Donatella Marazziti at the University of Pisa ran a study comparing two groups. The first group had recently fallen intensely in love. The second group had been diagnosed with obsessive-compulsive disorder. She measured serotonin levels in both groups' blood. The results were nearly identical. Both groups showed significantly lower serotonin than a normal control group, and the two groups were statistically indistinguishable from each other. This means the newly infatuated brain and the OCD brain were, biochemically, running the same reduced serotonin state. Lower serotonin is directly linked to intrusive, repetitive thought patterns, the exact symptom Tennov described decades earlier, now with a measurable biological explanation. You weren't imagining the obsessive quality of it. It was chemically real. There's one more factor that makes some people far more vulnerable to this than others. Psychiatrist John Bowlby's research on attachment theory found that people with an anxious attachment style, those whose early relationships taught them that closeness could disappear unpredictably, are significantly more likely to experience intense limerence. Their attachment system is, in a sense, already calibrated to scan constantly for reassurance. Combine that wiring with an unpredictable source of attention, and the dopamine spikes become even sharper. And modern technology didn't invent this pattern, but it did industrialize it. A read receipt with no reply. A story viewed but not responded to. Every messaging app you use is, structurally, a variable reward system. The same design principle behind every slot machine ever built. You are not weak for struggling with this. You are responding, with total biological accuracy, to a system engineered to produce exactly this response. Here's the part worth remembering, though. Tennov's original research also found something else. Limerence has a natural lifespan. For most people, without any resolution or reciprocation, the intensity fades within roughly 18 months to 3 years. The state that feels permanent right now is, biologically speaking, temporary. Your serotonin levels recover. The dopamine system recalibrates. The obsessive loop, given enough time and enough distance, quiets down. You are not broken. You are not weak-willed. You are a human brain running an ancient reward system, reacting exactly the way it was built to react. to uncertainty, to intermittent attention, to the person your nervous system has, for now, decided is the only reward worth chasing. And ancient systems, eventually, run their course.